STL world, how are we doing? You may be wondering right now, why am I not in my normal filming location? I do wonder that too. Well, sadly, I have tested positive for coronavirus. I'm doing completely fine. I'm doing good right now. Yeah, I'm on day 2 of quarantine. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling pretty good, guys. Okay, I will say I'm going a bit crazy being alone in a hotel room, but it's okay because I still get to bring you guys another great episode of STL Season 2. But before I introduce you to this guest, you know what we gotta do. Josh, roll that intro. That was so much. That was so much. Josh, please roll the intro.
You're here with me. I'll set you free. Don't worry at all. Just look up and don't give up. Every time you fall, roll it down, roll it down, roll it down, roll it down. The sky is the limit.
Thank you for staying with us, guys. Thank you for staying here. All right, guys, this interview guest is so special. I'm so glad he agreed to be on here. He is an acting coach. He's an actor, most notable for Point Break. It's such an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And guys, I am just so excited to finally introduce you to BoJesse Christopher.
Well, I can't really comment on that. Why does the sheriff's department care about this case?
I'm doing a favor for my godson. He grew up with the accused, and, well, you and I both know how these things go. I want to give him some perspective. Hey, I tried calling you.
I had a few meetings.
Did you know Matthew made bail?
Figured he might. Matter of time. A lot of cash in the drug trade.
Well, I got good news. We got the guy.
Matthew.
No, the guy who actually killed Trent Anderson.
Where?
Door. I got one question. Why?
You ever cheated on anyone, Sheriff?
Well, I've done a whole lot in my life. Never that.
You never see the line until you're past it. Once you're over it, you can't go back without fear of getting caught. Next thing you know, you couldn't see the damn line even if you wanted to. So you stay where you are. Barely able to recognize yourself. Struggling to survive.
Pull down innocent people in the process, right?
Some bad ones, too. Guilty as charged.
Well, you're next.
You know the temptation. Don't you judge me.
No, I'll leave that to a jury.
All right, guys, welcome. It's BoJesse Christopher. BoJesse, welcome on the show. Thank you for being a part of The Sky's the Limit. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. Tristan, it's good to see you, man. I really appreciate you inviting me onto the show. I'm excited to be here, man. Catch up with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. You know what? I just want to dive right into it. I thought about this question. It just came to mind right away. I always like going into mental health for actors. I think is a really, really big thing that needs to be even talked about more than this. And I think it is getting talked about. But you're going into so many different type of worlds, if you will, like you said, and some of them are dark, and and you're gonna go into that. And so, how do you keep yourself safe and still? That's I think the best way to ask. Like, do you have a routine that you use, or any tips?
I fell in love with Meisner's stuff, kind of like later in life. Like, I'm 50 now, and when I was like 41, I found Meisner. It really got me open to, finding out more about myself. And in doing so, I learned that the Meisner technique can be used in a way to evolve acting as a technique and get away from limiting yourself just as an actor and just as acting technique, but to use it as creative therapy. And this harkens back, man, to when we were at CDM, and I was working with Juan and Lynn, and I was approaching acting in that space for teens who may have been preemptive or maybe had some issues, right? Not only with we all have mental challenges, right? But like, substance abuse, stuff like that. Yeah. And it was a way to engage with another human being in a creative way. And the takeaway from that was some sort of emotional confidence. Where am I going with all this? I think the way I've been coaching and the way I hope that most coaches are now is not so much stuck in acting as a technique, but absolutely understanding what's come before us, understanding the evolution of it, but what are we going to do with it now? As actors, as coaches, as creatives. And so for me, this hopefully will put a tag on your question. You can work through psychosis, physical, mental, emotional awareness, right? And get to a point where you have some confidence in the practice of getting to know your emotional self, where anything that comes from that rises to the surface. It no longer completely overwhelms you and creates a potential problem that you can't manage, which leads to an event that you can't manage that creates more problems in a person's life. But it's now an instrument and a process and a freedom to speak your truth that gives you the tools to, for the most part, be a balanced enough human being to be able to get everything you need from a method performance or emotional connection and still be a professional and be easy enough to work with and still feel like you can have some growth and meaning to it all in acting, but also in your life, more importantly.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I mean, yeah, that sums that question up. I think even going through acting school right now it's that like the connection between how acting is and how just the real world is, if you will, and how there is so many crossovers and so many things I've learned about myself and just about life in general because of lessons I've learned in acting. And so it's just so interesting in that regard.
I second that. I hear you, and I want to honor what you said, because without acting, not so I can hide in the work, but so I can express myself in the work, I found out more about myself, for better and worse.
Yeah.
But I've established it. I've taken ownership. It's not easy. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the good, right? The bad and the ugly. There's a lot of things going on, and it changes every day. It breathes, man. It lives. It breathes. Just the way we see it, we feel it, because it exists, and we have to stop to really listen and respond. And so that makes us better in life in that regard. And so we can take more pause, and it's okay not to have to go fast and deflect and avoid, but we can actually feel the sting of life, whether it feels good or not. We have to embrace it and use it to communicate.
Yeah.
And I think we're better off because of the creative arts. I really believe that as humans.
Yes, I completely. And even going with that, I mean, with how we haven't been able to experience concerts, movies, I mean, all these different things that are arts, it has made us, I mean, in a way, like we crave that. And I think as a society, we're even learning how much maybe we've missed the arts and how much maybe we even underappreciated the arts. I mean, maybe that's just me, but like how it's like always there. So it's like, oh, it's whatever, but it really is something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah. There's so many things to reflect on, right? There's so many things, but that's a very good point, because I see a lot of things that I truly miss that we took for granted. The act of just going out and having a meal, right? Yeah. Sure, we can do that depending on where we're at, and we have to do it safely, but it's different now. It's a different experience. And so we, Can you imagine we're like going back where no one thought about wearing a mask? You walk up and high five someone, hug them, whatever, you sit down, goes meet a friend for coffee. You know, I miss that stuff. But here's what we're learning. We're learning about patience. We're learning about humility. We're learning about excess.
Yes.
There's been so much of it. The planet is responding. We have to listen, you know. We have to nurture the planet. Like, we do a good job on the one hand. On the other hand, we could do better. All of us, myself first and foremost included. But the thing is, I think what I'm learning is there's a lot of things that we can do without. You know what I mean? And still have some fun.
Yeah.
But I think when we get to a place where it feels safe and we've you know, reemerged, I don't want to look back at the way it was. I want to look forward at what we need to do and should do now moving forward. Of course I want to hug people. Of course I want to see people without a mask. But I think we need to listen to this event that's been happening. And I think we have to, and also I think it's important, the work we do as artists, even if it's done here on Zoom, it's important.
Yes, to keep creating and not allow that to stop ever. So let's go back to, we've been talking a lot that you're an acting coach now. When did you first get into coaching specifically, and why? What was the driving force to start doing that?
Yeah, so I've been acting 50. I'm proud to say it, but I'm 50. Yeah, no, it's great. It's a milestone. Thanks, man. Yeah, I know it's. I'm 50. 50 during COVID. I'm 50. And I knew that I wanted to be an actor when I was probably 12, maybe younger, to be honest with you. But I always had a knack for caring about people. And so anybody in my peer group, I would try to be there for and try to support and try to work with them on their scene work, and not try to tell them how to do it, but I would explore things. And I just really liked doing the work. So for me, I guess I was kind of in that coach mode because I feel more supportive. My feeling in general is that I don't teach acting, I coach actors to their true potential. Okay? And so for me, my approach to helping people was like, not by telling them what to do, what I thought they should do, is finding their true potential in whatever it is they were doing in that work. I think that's the sign of a good coach, whether it's, you know, athletics or art or politics or life, whatever it is, right? So for me, I always it was always on my radar. And then I was pursuing my career, still pursuing my career, and had a couple friends, you know, that were, you know, needed some help with, you know, auditions or self-tapes or whatever. And summarize, I'm kind of like putting the pieces together, but basically I quit acting. I quit acting when I was like 32, and I took about 8 years off. And then when I was 40, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I love acting, and I turned my back on it. I was very disenchanted about it. And wasn't getting auditions that I like, wasn't represented by agents and managers that I thought were a good fit for me. I just turned my back on it. I was raising a son then, my oldest kid. I was a young parent, single parent. And excuse me, the long story short was that I said, I'm going to get back into acting when I was 40. And so the first thing I did was I found, a friend of mine referred me to this acting coach, Sandy Marshall, and she was a disciple of Sandy Meisner. And so that's where I found the Meisner thing. It took me all of probably 8 months before I was so in love with Meisner technique that I just had to share it with people. And so what I did was I was like addicted to the Meisner technique and what it was doing for me, and revitalizing me and reinvigorating me and stimulating me going towards my rebirth of acting. Okay, back into acting. And so this is a long answer, but the short part of it is that I then said, I'm going to rent some theater space. I'm going to invite my friends who are actors and maybe get a couple people that I don't know that might have heard about me or what I'm doing. And very quickly, I put 20 or 30 people every Tuesday night into an acting collective. And I called it Truth Be Told Acting Collective. And I did that for almost 7 years on Tuesday nights. And it was at capacity, critical mass, hard to get into, by reservation only, and it just sort of organically came up, and it was this thing, and every Tuesday without fail it was a thing, and it was awesome. And it was it basically really, it honed my coaching skills. And then while I was doing that, I was auditioning and working as an actor, and so I had experience to draw from. You know, I had 20 years prior to that as an actor, but in studied with a bunch of people. But then when I got back into acting, I was also auditioning and acting and coaching. And now this thing is like, you know, it's beautiful because it's so natural for me to be a coach and to represent my studio in the way that's focused on TV film actors every day. And I wouldn't do it if I wasn't in love with the work and what it feels like to be an actor. And I hope that was.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a great answer. I mean, I think a lot of people will sometimes look at actors and be like, oh, so easy, or oh, they're just having fun, or whatever, or they just gonna have fun. Like, but is it hard work? Or
yeah, man. I mean, you're asking all the right questions. By the way, you are. There's a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenge, because here's the thing. You know, you're not getting paid to act until you're getting paid to act. So the challenge, the elephant in the room, is that, you know, no one's making money doing it unless you're making money doing it. And so you better love the creative arts enough to sacrifice that fact. And so it doesn't mean you won't be able to figure out how to balance finance and art, because that's my next statement, is like, you need to find a way. I need to find a way. This is sharing my experience. Like, you know, it's like, you know, I've been in the business for almost 35 years, long time, done a lot of things, but I've also had way more time of not working in those 35 years, right? If I was always working as an actor, you know, I'd have thousands of credits, you know, and tons of money. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where the challenge is, what are we doing as an actor, artist, with our time when we're not working as an actor? That's what's challenging. And so I think my suggestion would be, you have to always find ways to creatively express yourself. You have to produce the opportunity to be creative, whether that's your own podcast, you know, coaching acting, whatever it is, waiting tables, whatever it is that gives you balance and you know, creates joy, equal amounts, so you can still have more in the tank to go after the thing you know is going to be a lot of work to achieve. And it is a lot of work, to your point, because you asked, is it a lot of work? It sure is. I mean, good old-fashioned hard work pays off. Without it, you know, we're nothing. And without it, we don't have the life that we've lived that's allowed us to feel that hard work, so we can take the way that feels and put it into some of the roles and circumstance that we're possibly responsible for as an actor. Because a lot of that stuff you can draw off of your own life's experience and repurpose some of that energy and express it outwardly and put it into the moment and, you know, convert it into something meaningful and memorable and something universally relatable, because you've lived it and other people have lived it. Now they can connect to you as the conduit to feeling not alone, because as a storyteller, part of the responsibility of the actor is to, you know, remind people that, you know, they're not alone, that they can relate to what's happening here. We can live through the art form of storytelling.
There's always one last question I like to ask every single artist that comes on here, and do you have one piece of advice you have for artists and creators right now during this time?
Create. If you're an artist and you're a creator, I mean, create and express. Because think about the question, creators and artists, which lives in every human being. It's just sort of the practice and the application of you know, of presenting that work. So you have it, you have the creativity, right? You are creating creativity, manifesting that, identifying where it lives inside you, and then to outwardly express it. The act of creating the art, you know, is the combination of the two. So you just have to step into it. I mean, there's a couple couple things that come to mind, but I think you have to do. We can't talk about doing or talk about why we can't do. I think we have to produce the opportunity to be creative, and ultimately it's kind of our own fault if we don't, right? Because there's so many different ways to do it these days. I mean, we're doing it now. You and I are chopping it up, bro. This feels good. We're creating art right now. This is creation and art combined. It's happening. It lives. It breathes. We see it. We feel it. It exists. If you want it, don't wait. Go after it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for your words, for your experiences. It really means so much more than even words can put. Thank you for coming on the show.
Tristan, you're my friend, and I really appreciate being here, buddy. So I wish you all the best. I wish everyone out there who's watching this, not watching this, the best. Go get them. Let's do this. And I can't wait to see what we all do moving forward. Let's figure out the solution to our creative problems together.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Thank you so much. All right, guys, that was season 2, episode 2, BoJesse Christopher. Thank you for watching, and always remember, it's a great day to have a great day. See you guys. Hey, you got to the end of the video. How are we doing? All this is I really want you to subscribe. I want you to go watch our other artists on S2e2, and let me know what you think. Please reach out to me. I want to talk to more people. Please, I love you guys, and always remember, it's a good day to have a good day.